Eve. So I put my notes down and I started with the beginning. So we're going to go back to April of 1965. Bill and Naomi Jello. Naomi's pregnant.
That mic's not working.
I'm going to need some. Low.
How about the other one?
I need some audience
There you
participation.
go. There you go.
I need some audience participation because there's young and old here and whatever. So in 1965,
I wasn't born
the
yet.
month of April,
We were alive.
I need help with the top 5 songs. So I need somebody to sing. So the number
There you
one
go.
song was "Stop in the Name of Love" by the Supremes. So give me a little song. Before you pray. All right, good. So number 2 was the Beatles, "Take It to Ride." Yeah. All right. That'll do. So the next one is Wayne Newton, "Red Roses for a Blue Lady." Never heard it? Okay, the next one's a really good one. Tom Jones, "It's Not Unusual." Not unusual. Look, mighty one. Guess what the number 1 song of the month was in April 1965?
Satisfaction.
Nope.
Satisfaction.
Nope.
Number 1 song.
I'm gonna give the artist. It's Roger Miller.
King of the Road.
King of the Road. So kind of perfect, right? Perfect, because John is the king of the road. King of the road. All right, and John, or anyone, can you guess the first line of the song? Trailers for sale or rent. Coincidentally, your profession since 1988. Do you believe it? Trailers for sale or rent. All right, so I told you I had this in next is my intro. So I want to say a big thanks to Jeno for giving us the chance to celebrate a milestone birthday and roast a guy I've known since 1988. And I think we first met playing pickup basketball at the Elm Park Church gym. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
All right. I remember seeing this guy playing guard. He was feverishly dribbling down the court. And a lot of people don't know this movie, but the movie was Christine.
Oh, I remember.
Remember Christine? All right. Seriously, if you knew John back then, just Google the guy's name. His name is Keith Gordon. It's uncanny. Actually, he still kind of looks like him. This was Keith Gordon. Keith Gordon, right there, 1988. But
Yes.
Jonathan, yep.
Jonathan. So Jonathan, fast forward, that's what you're going to look like. Yeah. All right. So my next title is Work. We started working together at AJF Trailer Leasing, which is going back a long way. And then it became Extra Lease, and now we left and went to work at Hale Trailer. So John is my work spouse. Okay? Whatever proper pronoun that you give these days. And going back, I remember when we transitioned to Hale Trailer, he was acting strange. I don't know what was going on with him. So it turns out he had another job offer and he divorced me. He did, he left. So he left me in September of 2010 and came back in June of 2011. So what's special about those dates? You add them up.
9
months. So when he came back, I asked him, what's the baby's name? I forgave him, but I wasn't expecting a pregnancy arc in our work marriage. All right, church. As many as you know, John and Jen are so involved in the church. So involved that the priest asked John one time to honor confessions, to help with confessions. So John goes in the confession booth, And his first parishioner comes in and says, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned." And after confessing, he asks, "Father, are there golf courses in heaven?" And John replies, "There's good news and bad news." And the golfer says, "Well, let's hear the good news." So John says, "Heaven's golf courses are more beautiful than you could ever imagine." And the golfer says, "That's awesome. What's the bad news?" John says, "You have a tee time at 8:30 tomorrow morning." So then the next parishioner is Jimmy Farrell. And he didn't know John was hearing confessions. So Jimmy starts with, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned." John gave his penance, and Jimmy added, "Father, I'm worried about my friend. He's lost his way." So John says, "Tell me about your friend." So Jimmy tells the story. He says, "I told John's cousin Ron that I can't play golf with John anymore. He cheats." And Ronnie says, "Why?" Jimmy says, "He found his lost ball 2 feet from the green." There's silence. So John still disguises his voice and says, "That's entirely possible." Jimmy says, "Not when I had his golf ball in my pocket." All right, Penn State trips. I'm going to carry on from Steve's. If you ever gone to a Penn State game with John, you know he's the most organized tailgater on earth. He arranges the trunk. He has the food layout. He runs the show. And John's dad, back in the day, used to have this shortcut, right? So we could avoid game day traffic. So we used to turn on this road called Big Hollow Road, okay? We'd get there, we'd get to our parking, our tailgate, and so one day we're going to the Penn State game, and we found that the gate was closed. And it was guarded by a PSU student doing his best Barney Fife impression. John's sitting there, and he rolls down the window, and he says, totally deadpan, "Hey, bud, I have a colostomy bag, and it's filled to the top. I need to get to the bathroom ASAP." The gate swings open, and we roll through. True story. All right. So my next topic is camping, which I've never gone camping with him, but I got a little help from Eddie. So Eddie shared a story with me. Camping with the guys was always a blast. Everybody brought beer, chips, pizza. What did John bring? He brought black olives. Eddie, who was the only person eating black olives? John Jello. What a guy, huh? What a guy. All right, so I'm going to lead into road rage. All right. I ask everybody to raise their hand if they've ever ridden with John Jello. All right, good. John Miller or Roger Miller, king of the road? Maybe Lord of the left lane tantrum. So let's just say it's not always a peaceful ride, right, Jenna?
No, it's definitely not.
So this is a true story. One legendary moment happened on Interstate 81. A guy ran John off the road. So instead of flipping him off, John reached into his console and pulled out loose change. He speeds up, gets in front of the guy, and starts flinging quarters out the window. Jan's in the passenger seat, like going 911. And the guy's in the passenger seat is going, "Oh, quarters! He's diving, he's moving! He's swerving!"
That really happened to him.
It looked like the guy was shooting, and John was shooting at him. Then I got a Yankee game story. Okay, I got really good box seats and I couldn't go, so Colleen, who was just my girlfriend at the time, asked John to join her. So there's two people with aggressive driving tendencies heading to New York City. She is the second worst road rage driver next to this guy. She later texted me a photo of two New York City cops, officers, and they're laughing hysterically. She sends me this photo. I texted back, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. To this day, they still haven't told me what happened. But I know it was good. So a few innings later, they get to the game, a few innings later, she sends another photo. Guess what the photo was? A picture from McSorley's. They left the Yankee game and drove down to McSorley's. So that's John Jello, Mr. New York City.
Yeah.
tag teaming my Irish wife and going to McSorley. That's a true story.
It's like 10-0.
Yeah.
We have the best seats. We left in like the third inning.
So, when we built Hell Trailer, I made sure I had 2 designated. I'm still in the road rage, by the way. We had 2 parking spots, one for me and one for my work husband, or work wife, or whatever. He deserved it, you know. So on our first day parking together, we're coming in, and he freaking cuts me off. Cuts me off one of my parking spots. Instead of waving, he's flipping me off. Yeah. How about that? All right, so last year we had a golf outing at Glen Oak Country Club, and it was brutal. It was 94 degrees. Jonathan was there. By the back 9, he looked rough. He was in bad shape. He stopped, he dropped, he rolled. He landed in the mulch. It mulch all over him, right?
Yeah.
So, and this is a true story, and it's scary, but his blood pressure was 60 over 40.
Wow.
The EMT showed up and they tried to help. There was a female paramedic, and she asked him to take off his shirt. And he hesitated. And she said, "Take it off or I'm cutting it off." Then she smiled and said, "Let's have a contest. If your man boobs are bigger than mine, then you win." John didn't wait. He knew he wouldn't lose. He took it off. His blood pressure came back. And she said, "You win!" All jokes aside, we know John's been battling back issues and his posture is just terrible. In fact, let's say when he walks, it looks like the letter C. He's walking like the letter C. So we're sitting at lunch one day and we're talking about retirement because we're on the cusp of, you know, the next part of our life. And I had a thought. I said, "John, maybe you could join the Village People and you'd be perfect when they chant YMCA." I love you, brother. Get that back fixed soon. I want you to be an I, not a C. The third quarter of your life starts on Monday. More colonoscopies, more doctor visits, more bathroom breaks, but don't let the old man in, whatever you do. Whether you call him Dad, Honey, Brother, Uncle, Johnny, Jeter, Jukes, or John G. Jello, there's no one I trust besides my wife than this guy. Right here. And nobody understands what I'm going to say right now, but piss on me, Mom.